Who wears the trousers in the relationship?
If you don't want to wear the trousers, you can borrow some of my...
Why are you trying to take my trousers off?
Nice to meet you. Should we shake hands?
No, that's too formal.
A pretty psycho so far.
I agree with that. She's been a psycho.
I actually thought you were quite arrogant.
I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Hey guys, my name is Akshay.
And I'm Harpreet. Welcome to our brand new podcast.
We're very excited to bring this brand new episode to you guys. We're going to be speaking about our businesses, life after The Apprentice.
And of course, behind the scenes of our big fat Indian wedding. So, let's go.
So it's our brand new podcast, first episode. Cameras are on, mics are there, in our new home. How are you feeling?
Well, I don't know what on earth we're going to talk about, firstly.
I mean, the main goal for this podcast is to sort of show a bit more of ourselves.
Yeah.
Talk about our lives behind the scenes of what goes on while running a business, while life after The Apprentice. We're wedding planning at the moment as well. So there's a lot going on.
I totally agree. I feel like it'll be nice to let people into just behind the scenes a little bit. I feel like everything that we put out there and what maybe people know us for is business and self-progression and just constantly pushing hard and hustling. But at the end of the day, we are just, obviously a normal couple, trying our best. So I think it will just be nice to show people that side a little bit too.
I think so. A bit more authenticity.
Authenticity? Is that a word?
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah. But how would you, obviously a lot of people know us from The Apprentice, but how would you introduce yourself to someone who hasn't met you or know you from the show?
Well, I'm Harpreet.
Nice to meet you, Harpreet.
Nice to meet you. Should we shake hands?
No, that's too formal.
Okay. I'm 32. I am Punjabi, British Asian. A lot of people recognize me from The Apprentice. I actually set up in business around 8 years ago with my sister. I am the co-founder of Also Yum. And I am also interested in property, general mindset, helping people become the best version of themselves. Obviously, people saw me take home the investment from Lord Sugar, and we also successfully bought our shares back last year. So there has been a lot going on. And of course, met my partner on the show, met yourself, and we're due to get married in a few months. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, do we need to describe me in 3 words?
Are you looking for compliments?
Well, obviously.
I'd say, I don't think 3 words are enough.
Oh.
I'd say real, amazing, and genuine.
Oh, that's really nice. But doesn't real and genuine count as the same?
Yeah. But that shows how real you are.
True.
That's what I think. That's what I like about you. How would you describe me in 3 words?
Intense.
Okay. In a good way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Very driven.
Yeah.
And when you're not trying, you're really funny.
Same likewise.
Yeah. But when you try, I don't think you're very funny. We'll let you go next.
So a lot of people have seen me on The Apprentice, but some people may not know that I've actually been raised up in Africa, in a country called Malawi. Speak the local language as well.
What's the local language?
It's called Chichewa.
Go on then, give us a few words in Chichewa.
So I'll teach you how to say hello. It's called you say it as Muribonji.
Muribonji.
Yeah, say it to our Malawian followers.
Muribonji.
So yeah, raised up in Africa, moved at the age of 8, lived in the UK, went to school here, went to university, done a degree in entrepreneurship, and now I run my own marketing business. I also run a sports betting business as well. So that's me in a very short intro.
Okay, right, that's enough. Let's actually get into this. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour of our personalities and our background. Today, we're very excited. We are going to talk a little bit about goal planning for 2024. And we're going to give you a little bit of gossip about The Apprentice and sort of how we met and progressed, fast forwarding to getting married. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, let's kick things off. And I think it'll be nice to talk about our 2024 plans. Obviously, we're getting married in less than 4 months.
For me personally, the main thing is about keeping a balance. You can't make everything wedding, because then you're not going to run your business.
Yeah.
And you can't just completely ignore the fact that we have our big day coming, because then you get stressed out last minute that you haven't done this. So planning is a big part of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like at the moment we are really trying to juggle a few priorities. We're both so business focused that at times we're almost ignoring the fact.
In fact, we're actually dealing with some of the negotiations of the wedding like a business transaction?
To be fair, I think maybe not right now, but there are plenty of stories that I can tell everybody about how you have created this into like a business model, but it's not. It's a wedding. It's supposed to be a magical moment. Hopefully it's going to be romantic and not like a day
Definitely.
around business.
Definitely.
Or you are going to...
There's no numbers or anything involved on the actual wedding day.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
Well,
reassure you.
going back to our year, I think, it's not easy balancing different priorities. And maybe a lot of people listening, are actually either in a job trying to set up a business, or maybe they're running a business and they have children, and maybe they're trying to plan something special at the same time. I feel like life gets busier and busier at the moment.
Yeah.
And everybody I speak to seems to be juggling so many things.
Yeah.
So, it would be nice just to maybe share some tips on how we stay organized and, what's our 2024 looking like aside from the wedding and how we plan on going about it. So is there anything that you might want to share about your year in reflection to 2023?
Personally, one of my biggest goals or differences that I want this year compared to last year is people. What I've realized from last year is that I can't do everything by myself. I can't do the accountancy, I can't do the designing, I can't do the marketing, I can't do the pitching, I can't do the web development all by myself. And what I've started to do since towards the end of last year and this year is build my team and grow my team, hire more people, outsource my work. That's the only part that's going to allow me to grow truly within my business. So one of the personal things that I'm doing this year is hiring more people, bringing more people into my business that can help me grow quicker. Yes, I'd be able to do it by myself, but if I want to get there faster, I need more people. So that's one of my personal things as a business owner, rather than trying to do everything by myself.
There's a great strength in being almost able to let go. And I think when you run a business or you set up, you want to do everything yourself for a few reasons. A, it saves money. But B, you want that control.
Yeah.
And you want a really good job done.
Exactly.
However, if you want to scale up or be able to spin a number of plates, I think the kind of lesson in what you're saying there is you have to be able to delegate, let go of some things, and also accept help. And sometimes come to the realization that actually you will get further in your progression and be able to spin all those plates and achieve all your goals if you just let other people in and accept the help.
Totally. Like for me and yourself, your business is your baby. So it's very hard to let go and say, hey, can you do this for me? Because you just naturally feel like I'll do a better job.
Yeah.
But what I've learned towards the end of last year and sort of this year as well, as we're only 1 month in, is if someone still does an 80% job of what you can do 100%, it's okay. But if you get 10 people doing that, that's a lot more output than what you can do by yourself. So that's me. What about yourself?
I'm really looking forward to this year. I personally place a lot of pressure on myself. I'm naturally quite an ambitious, driven person, if you couldn't tell. And I personally wasn't actually happy with my progress in 2023. I feel like obviously in 2022, I got the investment on The Apprentice. That was like really life-changing for me. I already was running my business with my sister, but this really kind of changed the landscape. I was never on social media. I'd never done a podcast as a guest, never mind setting one up with my partner. So there were a lot of new things for me in 2022. And business-wise, we have made a lot of progress. So people might actually be quite surprised to hear me say, I wasn't happy with my own performance. But the truth is, I know I'm capable of more. And I felt that 2023, I wasn't 100% focused. I'm not going to give myself a hard time about it. I'm saying it from a place of reflection. I actually obviously lost my dad last year. That heavily impacted me. In essence, then affected my focus, my goals. Being truthfully honest, I didn't have many last year. I was, just trying to get through. And again, I think for anyone listening, sometimes personal circumstances come in the way. So it's very easy sitting here or listening to all these amazing podcasts or reading these books or watching TikTok and looking at successful people talking about focus, drive, make the time, no excuses. And I'm probably very much one of those people. But actually, it's okay if things crop up in your personal life. We are human, and you've just sometimes got to go along with the journey at a different pace that you are used to. So 2023 is a different pace for me. But I'm excited because I feel like, and I know you know this, because on the 1st of January, I don't know what got into me. I was like, no, I'm going to make a change and get back to the old Harpreet. So I made like a little bit of a change in my mindset. I did a few bits to kind of set my goals up for this year. And I made a decision that actually, for me to get back to the Harpreet that I'm used to, fast-paced, gets through things quick, just do it attitude, I'm going to kind of need to put certain things in place to be able to focus. And I feel like I'm doing a good job so far.
I personally see a massive difference from that moment you made that decision, saying, hey, do you know what? I'm going to bring change. And it's amazing to see. What I personally love is that you acknowledged that and you realize yourself that, do you know what? I'm not feeling myself. And that's okay. That's okay to give yourself that time to realize and sort of find yourself again and realize that moment as well. Say, do you know what? Now I'm going to change and be my best version again. Does that make sense? No, I really respect that. It takes a lot of honesty to do that.
I want to say something really soppy.
Go on.
I just want to say thank you as well. This feels very formal, but you've like really supported me last year as well. And I feel like it's so important to have a partner or surround yourself with people that keep you going, keep you boosted and keep you motivated. It is so easy to fall into the pit of feeling sorry for yourself. This has happened in my life, or X has happened. The reality is things are going to happen. Life is tough. Life is difficult, but it's about getting up and keeping on going. Yeah. So I just want to say thanks because you did really help me.
That's what partners do. You're meant to lift each other up
100%.
And make sure you're being your best version. And I'm so happy to see that not only you'll be your best version, but this is even about Harpreet and that won The Apprentice,
Yeah, I'm excited. So
there's a lot happening.
Yeah, 2024. Looking to this year now, I've got big plans. I'm not going to lie. I've been pretty psycho so far.
I agree with that. She's been a psycho. And on that note, thank you for tuning in, guys.
So come on then, let's give people a couple of tips on how they can become the best version of themselves. And, as we've mentioned, our big goals for 2024, balancing everything. What is like a couple of things that you do that help you become the best version of yourself, or that help you specifically towards achieving those goals?
I think with goals specifically, I write down my goals clearly of what I want on New Year's Eve, of exactly what I want to achieve from the year. And even while it's striking midnight on New Year's Day, my phone is out. I write around it on my phone. I am literally reading the list of what I want and what I'm going to achieve. So while everyone's going like, hey, Happy New Year, I'm there like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this. And I keep reading those goals again and again. I don't sit there in bed every night reading them again and again, but whenever I can,
I was going to say,
remind myself.
You're definitely scrolling TikTok on a night.
Only sometimes, but
okay.
I set very key goals, very, very specific key goals, and keep reading them again and again and make sure I'm reaching towards them. Another big thing I really genuinely believe is the power of positivity and never ever speaking about yourself in a negative way. I personally cannot stand that. I will never speak about myself negatively, or even if I'm around someone that is speaking negatively about themselves, I will say, can you please not say that, because I don't like it. I genuinely believe words are like spells. And in fact, that's why it's called spelling. Okay?
Oh, that's new. I didn't know that.
What you say shapes your reality. That's why I will never, ever be negative about myself or anyone or any scenario. If something didn't work out, brilliant. Because there's a redirection in there that's going to help me get further, right? I'm never going to say, oh, I can't do this. I even hate saying this right now on this podcast because I'm using it as an example, So I think it's about how you hold yourself, how you keep your energy and positive, because that brings you closer and closer if it doesn't work today, it's going to work tomorrow. If it doesn't work tomorrow, it's going to work the day after. And guess what? If it doesn't work the day after, it's going to work the day after that. And that's the power of positivity. And as a business owner, being an entrepreneur, running a business isn't easy. I think it's actually overly glamorized, which we'll touch on later in some other podcasts. But you have to keep that momentum and keep positive at all times. You know?
I think it's really interesting. I think there's a really few kind of golden things that you've said there. And a lot of these things are actually my favorite qualities in yourself. I'm a really positive person naturally, but something that you have taught me is I have felt that I don't think I've ever seen you feeling negative actually about yourself or your goals ever. No. Not once. And even if you are, you will never actually translate that into the spoken word, because like you just said, what you say shapes your reality. And I mean, I've always been a believer of that. I remember when I first met you on The Apprentice, I saw you doing this week after week, even if you were losing a task, which was very, very often.
Yeah.
But not once did I see you walk back in and be negative or
never, man. Like,
feel bad about it.
For me, it's like I got more time with Lord Sugar than any of you lot. Haha. I'm back. Now what?
So your top tip is actually know what you want, have that vision.
Be very, very, very clear on what you want. I know what I want this year. I know what my success looks like. I know how it feels when I get it. And
you're going to conduct yourself in accordance with that every single day.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to measure your success. You know, set goals that are actually measurable. Don't just say, hey, I wish to have a big turnover. No, clearly say, look, I want a £2 million turnover this year. This is what I want to achieve. Then you know, have I hit my goal? You know, and if you haven't hit your goal, what's the reason that I didn't hit it, and what can I do better to improve it? You know,
nice.
Numbers are for me personally, numbers is how you measure progress. Nice. But everyone's different, you know.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I would actually say that I'm quite different in my goal setting approach and achieving what I want. But I'm actually on the journaling side. And I find that just as much as you feel that the spoken word is so important, I also believe that if you put pen to paper, that's what really helps me. And that's what I was lacking personally in 2023. I can visualize myself every single day on a yacht, sipping champagne, on the most luxurious holidays. That's the easy bit. I know exactly what I want to achieve and live and experience in life. I know where I want to take my business. I know how successful I want to be. I know how many people I want to help. But for me, if I don't actually put pen to paper and break it down into individual tasks, that's where I struggle. Because for me, it's really easy to daydream and visualize and conduct myself positively. That's second nature to me. But unless I stay on track consistently, revisit it on a regular basis, the type of personality that I am, will end up losing track a little bit. So what I've done differently this year to last year that's made a massive difference has been having that end goal in mind. What does the end of 2024 look like for me personally? What do I want to achieve? How does it feel? What does it look like? But then what I've actually done, and this is what I did the year that I actually applied for The Apprentice, and it worked. I broke down the whole apprentice interview process. I kind of guessed week by week the tasks, and I actually have the diary where I'd marked, Lord Sugar's going to say, you're hired, or I invest in you. That was before I'd even been accepted onto the show. I had pen to paper and really visualized it, and I've still got the diary. But then last year, that all went out of the window because, as mentioned, you know, I wasn't as focused. This year, 1st of Jan, you saw me. I was very excited. I held a meeting to share my goals with you.
Yeah. We actually held a meeting on New Year's Eve to discuss our...
It was New Year's Eve, actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, we sat in the living room. We had a meeting, and I shared my January tasks. So what I've done is I've got my 2024 goals, and I've split them into, because we've mentioned we've got the wedding, I separated it all into, I think, business, property, personal, self-care. Fitness, because I wanted to make a big change with that this year. Money goals and a few other secret little projects. I've kind of made them into sections, and then I've like mapped out January, wrote down every single priority, and I've wrote down specific tasks that will help me get 2 to 3 steps closer to the end goal. So by the time I get to December, I have like literally made so much progress month on month. And by breaking it down into monthly tasks, I just feel like I'm giving 110%. Did I get burnt out and put too much pressure on myself? Yes. Okay. And I feel like I had an amazing 2.5 weeks, and then it kind of got really busy at work, and one of the priorities took over. But actually I feel okay about that, because I've now learned that actually I whacked a little bit too much pressure on. I'm going to ease off a little bit and realize that you can't hit every single priority month on month. You've got to adjust it over the course of the year. So that's what helps me. And if you are the type of person that does like to journal, I have a manifestation diary. But I personally believe that you should not just have a vision board. You should have a monthly breakdown of how the hell you're going to get there.
I think you've raised some great points, but I think we should also speak about when goals sometimes don't go to plan, how you deal with that and how you move forward from that.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like a lot of successful people are in that position because they've dealt with things along the way and risen above it. So let's save that for next episode.
Yes.
But for now, maybe let's give people a bit of a relationship behind the scenes gossip.
Let's do it. So I think we should actually start this off by firstly you being truthful and just admitting that you asked me out first.
No, sweetheart, that's not what happened.
You don't need to lie anymore.
I'm not lying. You know that's... come on, does anyone really think I'm going to ask anybody out?
Actually, do you remember the first time you spoke to me or you looked at me?
I smiled at you. You walked into the boardroom meeting where all candidates meet for the first time. I smiled at you. And you looked like literally completely ignored me, looked the other way. So I actually thought you were quite arrogant.
Okay, I did look at you firstly, and you looked very nice. But I was there for a business show. Okay? I wasn't there to go and smile at people and be like,
no, sweetheart.
buddy.
I'm not saying I thought it was Love Island. There's no harm in...
We are on a business show, Harpreet. You know, I'm there for a serious competition.
Okay.
Sorry I didn't smile back at you. I find that sometimes when people meet me for the first time, they do sometimes think I'm arrogant, but then they realize I'm actually quite down to earth. Okay, that was your first impression.
Yeah, it quickly changed actually. What was your first impression of me?
I walked in, I did see you, but my initial sort of strategy was that, look, I'm going to go in there. I'm not going to be all buddy with people. I'm going there, I'm a serious contender. I'm going to walk in, I'm going to look straight at the door, go in, listen to Lord Sugar, and be like that firm character. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So it wasn't that I was being arrogant or anything like that. I did see you smile at me.
And you ignored me?
I didn't ignore you. I acknowledged it.
You noted it down.
I noted it down in my journal. And I just thought, I said, wow, very, very pretty girl, very professional looking.
Professional looking.
And I didn't think like, wow, I'm going to marry her. But I thought like, wow.
Just tell everyone the truth. You fell in love with me.
Maybe I give you a smile. And I said, oh, okay, Harpreet.
No, you fell in love with me on The Apprentice.
What's the next question? Actually, to clear it up, I did like you on the show. Okay. When I first saw you and saw how you sort of hold yourself together, I thought, wow, this is exactly the kind of girl I want in my life. And then as the weeks went by, that's when I said, no, this is not the kind of girl I want in my life. That is exactly the girl I want in my life, you know?
Aww.
So yes, I did like you on the show. I actually asked you out a few months after the show had ended. Even that wasn't as if like, hey, will you go on a date with me? You know, it was more like, hey, are you in London? Let's grab dinner, which you said no to.
Yeah, no, you were trying to ask me on a date, but your strategy was to blend it into a business lunch or business dinner.
Never a business dinner.
I think I tried to invite all the other apprentice candidates.
It was never a business dinner.
I wasn't rude and said, no, I'm not doing dinner. I was, A, focused on my business.
So was I.
And B, I
don't go asking random people for dinner.
I know, I think I just wanted to avoid a situation at the time.
But anyway, long story short, you said no to the dinner, but said yes to a lunch.
Yeah, because I thought I'll blend it into like a quick lunch with a friend.
Yeah. And that's when I sort of realized that we're very similar people.
Our first date I don't think we thought it was a date, but it was a date.
Yeah, it was. We're very similar people in terms of mindset,
Mm.
and that's why we connected really well.
We just progressed quick.
Mm.
I think within like the first, 3 months later, we announced we were a thing. And we would never do that unless we knew actually
We're serious.
one day we will get married.
Mm.
Obviously, you knew on day one.
I knew that.
It took me time to warm up.
I visualized it in my 2022 goals, you know.
Didn't you?
I said,
To marry
I
Harpreet.
clearly said, I didn't journal it though. I knew I'm going to marry you.
Yeah. I think things progressed quick. We told our family quick, and then it was just
Totally.
everywhere. And it's progressed so quickly. Like, things just work out. And I think it has proved to me that you honestly never know what's around the corner sometimes.
Agreed. Okay, The Apprentice is back on TV now. Do you remember how you were feeling, or we were feeling, when it was airing at the time?
I felt really, those butterflies in your stomach.
Mm.
You get so excited and nervous and scared and apprehensive and all of that, even though I knew the sort of outcome I was in the final, because obviously we watch it back with the public. You film it and then you watch it back with your family. So it's a whole mix of emotions, isn't it?
It's intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Yeah.
I remember I was project manager for week 1 and I was trending #1 after the episode. Crazy enough, Kanye West was #2 that day and Akshay was #1. It was super intense because obviously you're not used to dealing with, I wouldn't call the word fame. I don't think that's the right word, but that exposure. And I had like 300 followers on Instagram. I went from a private profile to literally trending #1 on Twitter overnight. And it was intense. There's thousands of people slagging you off. There's a few comments, how good you were. It was exciting, but also the unknown. It's like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's a lot of pressure. And I don't think it's something that you can anticipate as a candidate. Like,
No.
I applied for the show because I honestly thought this is a business show. When you watch it as a viewer, you think, wow, what are these candidates doing? These tasks are so simple. Why are they messing up? But there's a lot more to it, as there is with any TV show.
Yeah.
So when I got into it, I remember like filming task 1, I was actually really upset. I remember thinking, wow, like I'm really going to mess this up. I'm going to embarrass myself. Luckily, we got through week by week. It's fun to watch yourself back on TV, but it's also really scary because you don't know which parts are going to make the edit, and it's usually the really silly bits.
I think that sometimes the viewer looks at the contestant and thinks they're so stupid while they're making that decision. But sometimes they don't realize the pressures they're in, right? They don't speak to the families. We weren't allowed to speak to our families. We're not allowed a mobile phone. We don't have internet.
You don't even know the time.
You don't even know the time. You don't sleep much because you genuinely wake up at 4 a.m., come back at 11 p.m., right? So there's a lot going on. You sometimes don't eat properly because your mind's in your task and that's not your focus. So there's a lot going on, right?
Should I tell you something really funny? So obviously when you go into The Apprentice, you have to tell them your dietary requirements because obviously they're going to feed you when you're on task and stuff. And because I wanted to diet and lose weight and look really skinny in my dresses, I told them that I was like gluten-free.
So they're getting gluten-free?
Because I wanted to avoid like bread, pasta, and I was like I'm a pescatarian, so I eat fish and I eat veg, but I think I told them that I was vegetarian and I wanted a gluten-free diet. Yeah. I really wish I didn't do that because I was so miserable and hungry.
That's why you were like that. Then you're saying I didn't smile back at you.
I was honestly so hungry for like 3 months on end for filming.
At least now I know why.
Yeah.
But truly, I think one of my favorite moments from the show, I don't think I've ever told you this. So many people don't know this, but week 8, when I lost the task, Lord Sugar said to me, why should I not fire you? This didn't make the edit, but I actually said to Lord Sugar, look, if I lose the task, I'm going to fire myself. And he was like, what? No one's ever said that. Come to week 9, I knew we'd lost the task. Because I had secretly watched your guys' TV presentation, and I knew what figures you'd achieved.
Right, okay.
Right? I peeked and I saw what figures you achieved. So because I was in the control boardroom, people saw me getting stressed out. I was like, damn, I'm going to lose my task. And because I'd made a commitment saying to Lord Sugar, I'm going to fire myself, I'm convinced that I'm going to go in the boardroom.
Right.
Because I knew I'm going to fire myself. I'll give him my word to it. I'm not going to back off from that. So on that taxi journey back, it was around midnight. It was just me by myself in that apprentice van. And I just literally sat there looking out the window. It was such like a Bollywood film moment. I said, this is exactly what I've dreamt of. I'm in the apprentice van. I've just done a task, been there for about 9 weeks, and I am going to fire myself. Got home, told the home producers, like, guys, I'm just giving you a heads up. This is what I said to Lord Sugar, that I'm going to fire myself. They said, actually, don't do that because you don't know
if he might actually still save you.
If he might save you. I said, no, I've kept my word. I'm not going to go against it. I'm going to fire myself. Come to the boardroom, and the first thing Lord Sugar said was, listen, I decide who gets fired. If you're respecting me, you're going to stay in the process.
Okay.
And I said, okay, fine. Do you know what? That's fine. So I sort of knew that week I was going to get fired. And when he fired me, I was like, do you know what? I'm so grateful. I'm so happy.
Wow.
I didn't have any negative feelings. Again, it comes back to that positive attitude. Like, wow, this was my journey till here. On to the next immediately. As soon as he said, you're fired, I was really thinking about what I'm doing next.
Yeah.
You
Love
know?
that.
So,
Love that.
yeah, it's for sure.
You've just got to try your best. You know, at the end of the day, it is a competition. There can only be one winner. But in
100%.
reality, in business, so many people can succeed and there's room for everybody.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Definitely.
it's an intense, crazy TV show.
It's really intense. Really.
yeah.
And I'm so happy you won. You deserved it.
That's really kind.
You genuinely deserved it.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this year, seeing how they get on and enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
And let's see who makes the cut. So we always get asked so many questions, ranging from business, our relationship, and like some really strange questions sometimes actually. But it's only fair that we do a Q&A, I think. So feel free to send your questions in. But I did like pop up a little story on my Instagram a few weeks ago. So I think we should kick things off and ask you.
Let's do it.
Let's see what people have got.
Let's do it. Let's go. What's the first question?
Right, question 1. Would you rather have 1 million in your bank account or 1 million followers?
For me, it depends on what the demographic of that followers is. If it's like a random meme page with 1 million followers, I'll take £1 million now. But if it's a targeted audience of certain customers of certain demographic, I'll take the 1 million followers because you can monetize that for way more.
Okay, Mr. Savvy Businessman, I'll just take the money. Just give me that cash. Like, first thing I'll do is book a flight out of here.
Where are we going? Notice I said we.
It's okay.
You take the £1 million, I'll take the 1 million followers.
Perfect. Jump down.
Next question.
Question 2.
This is a good one. Who wears the trousers in the relationship? Are you looking at my trousers?
I think we're equal. I think we both wear the trousers.
The person who wears the trousers doesn't say I wear the trousers. Like, if someone wears the trousers, they wouldn't openly say, hey, I wear the trousers.
No, the question is who's the boss?
The boss doesn't say I'm the boss.
Yes, they do.
But the fact that you have to say I'm the boss shows that you're having to say I'm the boss.
If you don't want to wear the trousers, you can borrow some of my...
Why are you trying to take my trousers off? You tell me, please.
Right, next question. Okay, final question. Was the proposal really a surprise?
I like to think so.
I was very pleasantly surprised. I think every girl deserves to be proposed to in that way.
Definitely. So I told you that it's my friend's surprise birthday party.
Yeah. James Bond themed. That's
Yeah.
why I was in like a floor length dress. I don't just normally go out on a weekend like that.
Yeah. And do you know what? I can literally, we can do a whole podcast on this. But long story short, I was actually going to do it in Dubai.
Yeah.
But I did it in the UK last minute. And I just wanted it to be perfect. But I'm not someone who gets nervous. But I'm not going to lie to you. That proposal was intense. As soon as it was done, I was just like, oh, relief, done.
Okay, brilliant. And do you know what? On that note, we will save this for the next podcast.
I think we should.
Because I have some funny stories of my own to share about the proposal.
All good ones, of course.
Of course.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into our first episode. We genuinely hope you enjoyed it.
Next time, we are going to talk all about dealing with failure and how to work out things when they don't go to plan. We'll tell you a little more about the proposal.
And we're also going to talk about The Apprentice. So see you next time.